The 2010s, I think, started out as this wonderful promise of something more and slowly descended into a nightmare none of us can wake up from.
When I think of the 2010s, I think about Netflix.
Adele Dazeem, one of the funniest things, it's still funny.
If you had to like boil it down, I feel like the 2010s were like the Netflix decade, the Marvel decade, and then like the decade of memes.
I do find the phrase "dicks out for Harambe" very funny. And I remember the year that it was going on, like that it was fresh. I was at Lollapalooza, and I've never seen more signs that said "dicks out for Harambe." It's amazing that that sort of thing took off.
And I still hear memes about it. Like you go on Reddit, you go on 4chan, Harambe's there. Harambe will live forever.
Minions, oh God.
I don't know, maybe if this is not knowledge to everybody, but it's like so heavily associated with like soccer moms on Facebook and those memes of just like, I hate Mondays or like, this is mommy's juice. I actually hate them so much.
I feel like this is really the last 10 years where we saw like meme culture becoming popular culture. As someone who like has opinions about entertainment that likes to have a filter, you know? Like I don't love major studios or record labels, but I do recognize that they play an important part in kind of like filtering things down.
Oppan Gangnam Style.
Gangnam Style to me was really funny because it spread so quickly. Like it wasn't something that the kids liked and then the adults co-opted it. It was like everybody started liking it at the same time. Like my mom was doing Zumba classes to it like immediately.
That was something I wasn't expecting to get big and it got everywhere. And it's like, it's one of those things that just like linger and when you find it, it's like a relic and you turn it off.
That was an exhausting week of everybody having an opinion about what Miley Cyrus did at the VMAs. And sticking your tongue out, that was a big thing. Was that sort of like, she perfected this like gesture on stage, this sort of like.
Please welcome the wickedly talented one and only Adele Dazeem.
That's John Travolta at the Oscars, right?
It's not that hard of a name.
But the part of that that's even funnier is that he calls her the wickedly talented, which to me is even funnier than Adele Dazeem.
Didn't they have him come back the next year and they kind of made up?
Please welcome to the stage my very dear friend, Glom Gazingo.
I deserve that, but you, my darling, my beautiful, my wickedly talented Idina Menzel.
You guys!
But you're like, God, Travolta, like get it together.
I think Gotti might have been his punishment for getting Adele Dazeem that wrong.
And the winner is.
Come on. La La Land.
Moonlight!
Man, what a turn of events. Producer Jordan Horowitz, he handled that pretty gracefully for getting literally the biggest prize in American film snatched away from him.
This is not a joke. Moonlight has won Best Picture. Moonlight, Best Picture.
A perfect encapsulation of the power of live television, where everything is going wrong in this completely controlled environment, but justice is delivered.
Oh, hey, Mr. Trump. What's new?
What do you mean, what's new, Rudy? I'm being impeached. It's the greatest presidential harassment of all time, I would know. I'm like the president of harassment.
Talk about getting locked into something that you absolutely don't want to do. I feel like Baldwin definitely signed up for that gig when it seemed like this was going to be a joke candidacy. And unfortunately, we have been locked into that joke candidacy for the last 4 years. Alec Baldwin can't wait until the moment where he doesn't play Donald Trump anymore.
We are the chosen. We gonna shine now. Yeah, we are the movement.
Clearly the people who made it thought that their heart was in the right place making it, but it just speaks to the idea of how completely disconnected these mega rich billionaire people are from the world.
Pepsi made a woke commercial with the least woke celebrity they could find. It was basically a billionaire model, Kendall Jenner, like breaking through a picket line and picking up a Pepsi and positing it as the thing that can unite a completely polarized and divided population. And once again, much like Miley Cyrus, the backlash was instant.
Who looked at that script and just looked at the screenplay for that commercial and thought, this is a great idea.
You wonder ever you're a bad man?
World needs bad men. We keep the other bad men from the door.
Matthew McConaughey on the ropes at the beginning of the 2010s.
Oh my God!
No. You're supposed to be with me.
She was always supposed to be with me.
Then all of a sudden, 2014, bam, True Detective. Time is a flat circle. McConaughey's back. And now he's a Lincoln spokesperson. Driving cars and talking about all sorts of rust coal kind of cosmic bullshit while he's driving these luxury vehicles around. Fantastic.
Look at the bigger picture. That's how you devour a whale, one bite at a time.
About 10 years ago, most people weren't streaming on Netflix. They were still getting DVDs in the mail. Netflix wasn't making TV shows. And then all of a sudden, they just like threw the spigot open after House of Cards, and it has made my life a living hell.
I've adjusted well to the streaming age, just in the same way I adjusted to Kindles. It's still something to get used to, that whenever I want to watch a movie, it's usually available right away. And some of the novelty, I feel like, might be a little bit gone, because I used to miss like going to the video store and seeing a copy behind the copy, and knowing that it was there to rent was so exciting, and that's just a feeling I don't get anymore.
This is a Global Tel-Link prepaid call from
Adnan Sayed,
an inmate at a Maryland Correctional.
Serial, the podcast, was great. I was definitely on board with that from episode 1. I think Serial really paved the way for what podcasting has really become in the 2010s. You look at the top podcasts on Spotify, and 60 out of 100 are true crime podcasts to some degree. One of the things I find fascinating is now a lot of crime reporters are trying to teach people how to be ethical about making a true crime podcast, and it's become a whole like industry. But Serial, I think, was the height of that.
The meteoric rise of social media is never going away. How everything is played out publicly now. And I'm just as bad. Like the second something happens, I'm like, where's the hashtag? What are people saying on Twitter? And sometimes that's good because we all get to information quicker, and sometimes it's just ridiculous.
For every new season of Glow that you can chomp down in a single weekend, we've also had to deal with a lot of ugliness and a lot of trolling, but I think in the long run, the technology is good, it just needs to be harnessed a little bit.